We're going to take 3 days off, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. We'll see you back Monday for more Down on the Farm Radio. Now enjoy this edition of Texas Farm Bureau Roundup.
Hello and welcome to Farm Bureau Roundup. An extension of the Farm Bill has been announced by the Agriculture Committees in Washington, D.C. In other news, rainfall in Texas recently has certainly helped ease the drought conditions from the last several months. Plus, the U.S. Department of Agriculture reports that Texas is leading the nation in the highest increase in foreign-owned agricultural land. Here's more.
This is Jim Hearn in the Rio Grande Valley. Cool weather and rain has hit extreme South Texas. Most ag work is shut down for the time being. We'll have those stories and more in today's report.
Coastal Bend agricultural producers are thankful for the significant improvement in soil moisture that has occurred. This is Harvey Buring reporting from the Corpus Christi area.
We have had a pleasant early November and hoping that trend continues. This is Dr. Shane McClellan, and I'll have more from Waco.
This is James Duncan, and I'm a Traveler East Texas report today.
The four leaders of the U.S. House and Senate Agriculture Committees released the following statement on a Farm Bill extension. Quote, as negotiations on funding the government progress, we were able to come together to avoid a lapse in funding for critical agricultural programs and provide certainty to producers. This extension is in no way a substitute for passing a 5-year farm bill, and we remain committed to working together to get it done next year. That is the statement this week from the leaders of the House and Senate Agriculture Committees. Meanwhile, Jim Wiesemeyer, Washington policy analyst with Pro Farmer and Farm Journal, explains the situation on the Farm Bill.
That's why I never put a year to a farm bill, because that doesn't mean you won't have a new farm bill sometime in 2024. In fact, I think you will. But it just gives them more time. So they'll have to do a 1-year extension to extend, some of the programs. And that means you'll have a viable safety net at least continuing on for the corn, soybeans, and wheat that's used in the feed production.
Well, certainly there's a lot of volatility in the livestock sector, and the Farm Bill is critical to try to level the playing field there.
Yeah, what I point out is over the last few years, the biggest growth area in insurance has been dairy and cattle. And that was as a result of not the Farm Bill, but it was a funding bill in which cattle producers dramatically got a better program in insuring their industry. So I would watch that. It'll continue to grow, and that's a good thing because it's called risk management.
That is Jim Wiesemeyer, a Washington policy analyst.
When we moved to Texas, we were like fish out of water. We didn't know anyone in our neighborhood until our Texas Farm Bureau insurance agent came to the house. She was so helpful and reassuring, a friendly face with that Texan hospitality I'd heard about. When we purchased a Texas Farm Bureau insurance policy, we knew we were making the right choice. We knew our family would be protected.
Visit Texas Farm Bureau Insurance today at tfbinsurance.com to find an insurance agent who's a true neighbor. Coverage and discounts are subject to qualifications and policy terms and may vary by situation.
Recent rain in many regions of Texas has helped increase water levels and rejuvenated fall crops and pastures. Here's Jim Hearn in the Rio Grande Valley with his report.
The latest run of cool weather has left the Rio Grande Valley wet and cool. A cool front that, has hit the area with heavy drizzle and light rain, and that rain has lasted for at least 3 days and has left between 2 to 4 inches of rain across the area. Now, the rain also has gotten up into our watershed area. Falcon Reservoir has gained 4% over the last month and is now a very welcome sight for the lake, and, of course, has been in a steady decline for the past several months. Now, with the rain, most ag activity is shut down for the time being. The citrus harvest of early oranges, which had just got started, will be taking a small break. Also getting a break will be the irrigation crews that have been irrigating on about a 3-week irrigation schedule. The sugarcane harvest is also about to kick off, and it will be soon time before the harvesters will be moving through the field. Those harvesters weigh a lot, so wet fields, they'll bog down real quick. Onion planting is also on hold. Also harvesting of greens, cabbage, carrots, and salad greens are seeing a pause. Most growers are happy to see the rain, though. Water districts have been trying to get more water in their accounts, and this will certainly no doubt help them. We're already thinking about row crops, and producers are getting bedded up and getting that pre-plant fertilizer down. The latest round of rain will also help with the dry land as well as the irrigated land as well. Spring crops will be here before we know it. For Farm Bureau Roundup, this is Jim Hearn in the Rio Grande Valley.
Neighbor, don't forget about the 23rd Annual Bull and Select Female Sale coming up Friday, December the 1st, 2023, 1 p.m. in Hallettsville. 195 top-notch cattle selling, 70 coming 2-year-old bulls, 45 yearling bulls, 80 females, springs, breds, open Angus heifers, pairs, commercial Brangus heifers, pens of 3 and 6. Call for a sale book. Contact Mark Yannick, 361-798-6558. That's J-Bar Angus, leading supplier of Angus genetics in South Texas, 361-798-6558.
Soil moisture is much better in the coastal bend from the autumn precipitation. Harvey Buring reports from southeastern Texas.
Well, Coastal Bend farmers and ranchers have a lot to be thankful for despite the below average yields in most of their cotton fields this past season. Everyone engaged in agriculture is thankful for the recent rainfall events that have significantly improved our soil moisture situation across our region of the state. And from November the 10th through the 15th, we in the Coastal Bend received some significant rains that accounted for as much as 2.5 on the low side up to over 5 inches in a few isolated areas. During that 5-day period, it definitely improved our situation. Those were slow and steady rains with very little runoff, and as a result, the farmers and ranchers are looking forward to a much improved situation as we wind up this year and go into the spring with prospects of much more productivity in 2024. Now, as mentioned earlier, our region of the state has had some disappointing cotton yields this past year, and to back up that situation with some factual data was the report from the Corpus Christi Cotton Classing Office on November the 10th. Now, typically at that point in time, we're significantly over 1 million bales that have been processed through their facility from the 48 gins here in southeastern portion of Texas. This year's count was only 971,443 bales, but currently there's still 9 gins in the region that are processing cotton from this past season's crop, and hopefully they'll have enough remaining stock to help the classing office total reach that 1 million bale milestone for the southeastern region of Texas. Reporting from the Corpus Christi area for Farm Bureau Roundup, this has been Harvey Buring.
In central Texas, cooler temperatures and wetter conditions have been a welcome sight for ranchers and farmers. Dr. Shane McClellan has more from Waco.
After the last few years of extreme either dust or mud, and really no in between for our central Texas weather, our early November weather has been nice. Cooler weather with some scattered showers and just moisture in general. Those Friday night football games have been cool and wet. That's a nice change after the heat and long dry spell that we endured this year. Rainfall amounts have varied across our region, but everyone has got at least one good soaking rain. Bosque County to our east, it did have some flood-type rain that helped provide enough recharge water to even fill Lake Waco. It went from 54% full to 100% full just in a couple of days. Now, I still have cracks in the ground in my pasture. Those recent rains have helped ryegrass and oats germinate and grow. These livestock grazing forages will need another rain soon to promote growth. It's going to take more soaking rains to replenish our deep soil moisture that we will need to get to our really hot, extreme, dry summer months. But we are much better off than we were 30 days ago. Still hearing a few reports of isolated armyworm outbreaks. These cooler temperatures and wet weather should keep those populations down below an economic threshold. But all it's going to take is a little bit of sunshine and some nice weather, and those populations can explode. But it is important that producers be on the lookout for armyworms if our weather does become nice. We have had 3 light frost events in our area. 2 of them were back-to-back, and the second one really set back our warm season forages. depending on your elevation, protection from the wind, the variety of the forage, even growth stage. Some forages were burned back harder than others from the cold, freezing temperatures. Wheat for grain harvest will go into the ground soon as our soils dry up enough really to let equipment into the fields. There will be a push to get seed in the ground, so I hope everyone will be cautious out there on the byways and highways as our farmers are moving equipment, filling boxes, moving seed, and that'll probably continue until we get done, and it might be as late as early December. Until next time, this has been Dr. Sam McLeod from Waco with the Texas Farm Bureau Roundup.
Texas has the highest increase in foreign agricultural land ownership. Gary Joyner reports.
The issue of foreign ownership of U.S. agricultural land continues to simmer. New data from a U.S. Department of Agriculture report is likely to add more heat to the discussion, especially in Texas. The Lone Star State leads the nation in the amount of foreign-owned ag land. In 2021, the figure was 5,267,854 acres. That consists mostly of forest land, followed by pasture land, and then cropland. The foreign-owned amount represents 3.4% of the total amount of agricultural land in the state. The percentage nationally is 3.1%. It's not surprising the foreign ownership trend in Texas continues to point upward. Between 2020 and 2021, foreign entities purchased 549,000 more Texas agricultural acres. Investors from Canada, the Netherlands, Germany, Italy, and the United Kingdom own the most acreage in that order. Where is China? Nationally, China ranks 18th, with 0.3% of foreign investor-held land. Foreign owners of farmland are required to report their investments by the Agricultural Foreign Investment Disclosure Act. I'm Gary Joyner for Farm Bureau Roundup in Waco.
Finally today, our East Texas Roundup reporter James Duncan has been traveling out of his region lately. He files this report on what he is seeing along the roadside as he made his way westward.
This week we've been traveling throughout East Texas, from north central East Texas out of Marshall, that's what we call it there, down through a portion of the southeast Texas all the way angled over toward Austin. Now, I had an opportunity to hit some country that I haven't been in quite some time in part of the area that we were in, and I have noticed several things about our livestock. Folks need to be paying attention right now to their cattle and doing a little winter feeding right now. The condition of the cattle that I saw in the pastures along the roadside was a little bit thin for this time of the year. We ain't even got the rough part of the winter yet, so you better put a little mineral out, keep a little bit of those blocks, something like that, maybe a little feed along the way. I know hay's short, but you can't slack your cattle on it this time of the year. In the deep East Texas area, it's all deer hunting right now still. I know we've said that a couple of times, but that's just what it is this year as far as antlers are concerned. And we have worked really hard with the Texas Department of Wildlife to get those antlers out to where we can get that 13-inch spread at minimum, and then 14s, 15s on up, and getting some pretty good deer nowadays. So that's always a welcome sight and a welcome thought. Just get those cattle in a little bit better shape as fast as you can right now. If you look at yours and they look a little thin, take care of them now. James Duncan, traveling for the Texas Farm Bureau Roundup.
I'm Larry Marble from Down on the Farm Radio, and I'm with Stephen from D&D Farm and Ranch on I-10 in Seguin. That's ddtexasoutfitters.com. Stephen, you know, I'm an old sheep and goat man, was raised that way, and I love working sheep and goats with good equipment, and I bet you D&D can help me out, can't you?
Yes, sir. Larry, we are now carrying sheep and goat panels and working equipment from Rivera Panels. They're a family-owned company out in the little town of Lomita. They make quality equipment from working chutes to pens, all sorts of feeders that you can choose from as well.
Real great options for sheep and goat people. I know we've got them in Texas. I know we've got them in Guadalupe County. Stephen, tell everybody how to get a hold of you.
Larry, you can get a hold of me at 830-379-7340, extension 161. More than happy to answer any questions anyone may have.
We appreciate you. That's Stephen from D&D talking about their sheep and goat equipment, ddtexasoutfitters.com.
That is our program for this week. Thank you very much for joining us. Be with us again next time as we report on more agricultural news from across Texas. We will take you to the Panhandle and Rolling Plains, plus the Concho Valley and eastern Texas. For everyone at Farm Bureau Roundup, I'm Tom Nicoletti, and this is the Texas Farm Bureau Radio Network.